weight for yarn, I am using Lion Brand Mandala Ombre yarn. I bought 5 skeins for this project. Each skein has 150 grams or roughly 340 yards, a 4.5mm hook for the ribbing and neck piece, and a 6.5mm hook for the bulk of the sweater. You will also need some scissors and a darning needle to weave in your ends. In order to start our body panel, we're just going to grab our yarn and our 4.5mm hook, and we're going to start off with a slip knot. Start with a chain of 12. Half double crochet into the third chain. 1, 2, 3. And you're just going to half double crochet all the way down this row. So once you've half double crocheted all the way down that row, you're going to chain 2 and turn over your work. So yarn over, and right here is our first stitch. We're going to just pick up the back loop and regular half double crochet. Go in every single back loop all the way down the row except for the last stitch. I'm just going to go through both loops. So this is just the pattern for our ribbing. You're just going to chain 2, turn over, and repeat the last row for 55 rows. So I'll meet you at the end of this. So now that we have 55 rows of ribbing, I'm going to take out the 4.5mm hook and grab my 6.5, and now I'm going to make a row of single crochets on the top. So from here I'm just going to chain 1, now you're just going to chain 1 and flip over your work. In the first stitch you're going to put a single crochet, and then in the next stitch you're going to put a double crochet, and you are just going to alternate these stitches all the way down the row. So the next stitch would be a single crochet, and the next a double crochet, my last stitch was a single crochet, and that's what I want. So I'm just going to chain 1 and turn over my work. For this stitch pattern, you want to put a single crochet on top of every double crochet from the previous row, and a double crochet onto every single crochet onto every double crochet. So I've chained 1, and you're always going to chain 1 no matter what. And my first stitch is a single crochet, so I am going to put a double crochet on top of that stitch. Next stitch I'm going to put a single crochet, and just alternate. The double crochets from the previous row, they will have a bigger V. When you finish this row, you're going to end on a double crochet at the end here, and you will chain 1, turn over your work, and then start that row with a single crochet since you ended on a double crochet. So yeah, that's all you do, and I believe I did 47 rows for my first panel. Now we're on to the shoulder part. So here's the panel that I am currently working on. So what I did is I left 9 stitches unworked in the center. If you're following my exact number of stitches, into the 36th stitch from both edges is where you'll put the stitch markers. And if you started out with the same amount of chains as I did, then that'll leave 9 stitches unworked in the middle. You're going to do your decrease in the 2 stitches before. So I'm just going to chain one as usual, flip over my work, continue on with the single crochet, double crochet pattern until you have 2 stitches before the stitch marker. I've made it here and I only have 2 stitches left before my stitch marker. So now I'm going to make my first decrease. What you do is you insert into the single crochet as regular, pull the yarn through, and then you'll have 3 loops left on your hook and yarn over and pull through all 3 of those. I'm going to chain 1 and flip over my work. I'm just going to go into the stitch like a single crochet and then go into the next stitch, which is supposed to be a single crochet, yarn over and pull through. And there's my decrease there. My next stitch is a double crochet, so I'm not going to decrease at the other end. I'm going to keep this end straight, so you're only decreasing in the inner portion where the stitch marker is, the neck portion. Follow the stitch pattern, chain 1, turn. I am back at the decrease spot, so I have 2 stitches left. I'm going to decrease, insert my hook into the first stitch, grab the yarn, and then insert the hook into the next stitch. Pull through. I should have 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3. So I'm going to chain 1, turn over my work, this is the last row that we're going to decrease. So, but I want to do, just to add a little bit more length, I'm going to do 1 row without decreasing. So when I get to the end, I'm going to chain 1, flip over my work, go all the way back, and then just don't decrease at this end. That's the end of this row. So when you're done the neck area, make sure you cut and leave a long tail so you can use that to sew your shoulders together. So for the other side, you want to attach the yarn on this side instead of the edge, so that the pattern is still the same way, because you'll be working the yarn in the same direction. So this is the stitch with the stitch marker. I'm going to go right beside it and I'm going to attach with a slip stitch. Pull on the end just to tighten it a bit. So just make a slip knot and grab your 4.5mm hook. And it's just a tiny bit different than the ribbing for the body panel, only because I add 2 more chains, so it's a little bit longer of a ribbing. So I am going to chain 14. So once I have 14, the ribbing is the exact same. I did 23 rows of the ribbing. You're going to be putting pretty well about 2 single crochets in every row. Chain 1, flip over my work, and in this first stitch I'm going to add a single crochet and a double crochet. My next stitch would be a single crochet because I just put a double crochet, so single crochet, double crochet, next stitch. I would say we're at a good point to do the next increase. So I just did a double crochet, so what I'm going to do is add a single crochet and a double crochet into the same stitch, not a half double crochet, a double crochet, and then just single crochet in the next stitch. So that's how I increase on this row, and I'm just going to do that 2 more times. Yeah, so just remember to increase in 4 spots, and yeah, and then you just go back and forth row to row for 42 rows, and then that's it for the sleeve. I have finished all of my panels, so I'm just going to lay them out like this. take the long tail that I left for one of the body panels and seam the shoulders together. Okay, so now that my shoulders are all seamed, so right now I have all of the wrong sides facing up. So to attach the sleeves, what you're going to do is find the middle stitch on your sleeve and attach it to, get a stitch marker and attach it to the where you joined your shoulders. So I'm just going to find a rough middle stitch here, and you're just going to attach it to the middle join, curve these edges up a little bit, start on one end and crochet all the way along here so that when you flip this over, the sleeve will fold with it. So then you'll only have one more join after that. I've just attached the sleeve. What I'm going to do now for my last seaming step is attach my yarn at the cuff and work all the way to the armpit and down to secure the bottom. And I'm going to do that with the wrong sides out again, and I'll repeat everything on the other side. The very last step is attaching the collar, so I will be back with that after I do the other side. Let's just see. I don't know if that's going to be big enough. I'm actually going to do 38. And I'm going to join this as a circle. So I'm going to join it like this. So and I'm just going to join this with single crochets. Now that I have that join, I'm going to chain one and cut a very long tail, long enough to sew on the entire neck piece onto the body.